Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Larry's Trackside Teaser, where I preview the upcoming NASCAR weekend. And this weekend, we are previewing for Watkins Glen International. I am recording this late on Thursday night, so you're probably seeing this on Friday, the day of the Craftsman Truck Series. But let's get into our preview, if you will. Of course, we'll go through the schedule, the facts. I'll give my overall thoughts on Watkins Glen, what to expect. I will go through some favorites. I will have an underdog to look out for, I should say, and then my picks for the weekend for the Trucks, O'Reilly Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series. But let's first get into the schedule, the facts, the weather, and discuss all that. So first on Friday at 11 a.m., we have Craftsman Truck Series practice on Fox Sports 2, immediately followed by qualifying. And then at 1:30 p.m., also on Fox Sports 2, we have the ARCA Menard Series racing at Watkins Glen in the General Tire 100. And then at 4:30 p.m., we have the Bully Hill Vineyards 176, the Craftsman Truck Series race, and that will be on Fox Sports 1. And then we look ahead to Saturday at 10:30 a.m. We have the O'Reilly Series practice on the CW app, immediately followed by qualifying. And then at 1 p.m. we have Cup Series practice on Prime Video, immediately followed by qualifying. And then at 4 p.m. we have the Mission 200, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. And of course, that is on the CW. And then we look to Sunday at 3 p.m. We have the Go Bowling at the Glen on Fox Sports 1, the NASCAR Cup Series race at Watkins Glen International. And then to go through the facts, it's the Go Bowling at the Glen. The stages end at lap 20 for stage 1, lap 50 for stage 2, and it is a 100-lap event. The track is located in Watkins Glen, New York. It is a 2.45-mile road course. It opened up a long time ago, back in 1956, and that first Cup race was won in 1957 on August 4th by Buck Baker, of course, the father of Buddy Baker. The active win leader is actually tied between three different drivers. Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson all have 2 victories at Watkins Glen. And then, of course, last year's winner was SVG Shane Van Gisbergen. Then the notable entries for the weekend, once again, the trucks. Just every single time the trucks are out here, they get a fantastic entry list together. We have Brent Cruz and Adam Andretti both racing for Tricon Garage this weekend in the number 1 for Cruz, the number 5 for Andretti. We have Shane Van Gisbergen driving the number 4 this upcoming weekend for Nice. In the number 7 for Spire Motorsports, we have Connor Mozak racing this weekend. We have Tony Breidinger making another start this weekend in the number 20. We also have Natalie Decker in the number 22. We have AJ Allmendinger making his first Truck Series start of the year with the Colleague Ram program, driving the number 25. We have Ross Chastain in the 45. And then we have Connor Zilich in the 71 and Carson Hocevar in the 77, both for Spire Motorsports. And then we look at the O'Reilly Series as we have Connor Zilich and SVG doing the triple this weekend. Both of those cars are for Junior Motorsports. Zilich in the number 1 and SVG in the number 9. And then Chastain is also going for the triple, driving the number 32 on Saturday for Jordan Anderson Racing, which will have Carson Quaffle move over to the 91 because of Zilich being in the number 1. And then in the Cup Series, in the number 66, we have Josh Bilicki. And then in the 78, we have Catherine Legg. And then, honestly, rain's going to be a threat throughout the whole entire weekend. If you're watching, I assume you're probably watching this on Friday. Potential AM showers, around a 60% chance of rain. The temperatures are going to be anywhere between 40 degrees and 60 degrees all weekend. Each day, I feel like it's going to be very similar. We'll have to see how the rain ends up being throughout the weekend. All right, now that I've gone through all of that, what do I really expect from the weekend? What do I think about Watkins Glen? I'll start with what I think about Watkins Glen. I like Watkins Glen. It's been around NASCAR for a long time. It's kind of a staple in NASCAR along with Sonoma. Those for a long time. Those were the two road courses ran before we added more road courses onto the schedule. It was really only those two for such a long time. And I've always liked Watkins Glen. I thought it was the better of the two. I've also been to Watkins Glen twice in my life. It's a great racetrack. I've never camped there, unfortunately. I hope to camp there one day. But I have been there twice, and it's a great racetrack, a great experience. Turn 1, I'd say, is probably the best place to be. It's where the most action is, and you can see a decent amount of the racetrack from Turn 1 over there at Watkins Glen International, and usually it puts on really good racing, and I think it will put on really good racing in the O'Reilly Series and in the Truck Series this weekend. We're definitely going to be seeing some strategies, some short pitting in all three races. Drivers pitting before the end of the stages to leapfrog everybody and give up stage points to get track position. We're going to probably see that throughout the weekend. I think in the Cup Series, it'll probably be the one done the most because track position is the most king in the Cup Series compared to the other two series. I expect the O'Reilly race and the Truck Series race to be very entertaining races, potentially even barn burners for road courses. I expect them to be pretty great races. But in the Cup Series, with this generation of car, with how fast Watkins Glen is, on top of that, all the drivers in the field are well acquainted with Watkins Glen. It's not like it's a street course or a new road course that they've only been to maybe one or two times. It's Watkins Glen. Almost every driver in NASCAR has been there half a dozen, if not more, times. They have a lot of experience at the racetrack. So with how fast it is, with how much experience everybody has there, I would say it's also the easiest road course on the schedule. The corners are the easiest, so it makes everything so even. So it makes it hard to pass. It makes it hard to really do anything at Watkins Glen. So I don't have the highest hopes for the Cup Series race. I hope I'm proven wrong. I'm hoping we get some good battles between SVG and Zilich, which I do expect in the Friday and Saturday race, and potentially we can get that in the Sunday race as well. We'll have to see how all that goes. And I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. I like Watkins Glen, and I'm hoping we get a good show on Sunday. I'm looking forward to SVG and Zilich, and apparently also Ross Chastain, all attempting to go for the triple this weekend. With all that being said, let me go through a couple of favorites for the Go Bowling at the Glen. 3 favorites and 1 underdog. The first driver I have to name here is Christopher Bell, C. Bell, who actually hasn't won at Watkins Glen, but over the last 5 races has a 6.5 average finish and 4 top 10s in those 5 races. I do think he's due, especially the way this year has kind of gone for him. He's had great speed, but just hasn't been able to get the finishes. He wrecked from the lead last week at Texas, and he just hasn't had the best luck this season. So definitely look out for him. And then the other 2 favorites are very obvious. It's Connor Zilich, who this is going to be his first Cup Series race at the Glen, so he doesn't have any experience at the Glen in the Cup Series. And then you have SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, who won this race last year, and the year before he finished second to Chris Buescher. So he's really good at Watkins Glen. He's really good at any road course we go to. So I think that's clear cut. The two primary favorites have to be Zilich and SVG. They just have to be. They have to be the favorites. And then the underdog I'll actually name is Austin Cindric. And some of you that may remember how he did in the Xfinity Series, now known as the O'Reilly Series, he is a very good road course racer. He has a lot of experience road course racing, but we haven't seen it too much in the Cup Series. Well, at Watkins Glen, he hasn't had any race-winning, contending performances per se. But over his 4 races, I should say, at Watkins Glen, he's yet to finish worse than 16th. He's usually right around that 10th place area. And maybe he can put together a good run this weekend and maybe compete for a win or a top 5 this weekend at Watkins Glen. So definitely a driver to watch out for. And with all that being said, who is my winner? Who's my race-winning picks for this weekend for the Truck Series, the O'Reilly Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series? I was really flip-flopping on this quite a bit, but ultimately I did decide on Connor Zilich. I think Connor Zilich is going to win for Spire in the Craftsman Truck Series. I don't think this is going to be the blowout that you're necessarily expecting either, and I don't even know if Connor Zilich and SVG will be the primary battle in this race. Both Zilich and SVG don't have a lot of experience in the trucks. I'm definitely keeping an eye out for drivers like Caden Honeycutt and Lane Riggs, and even Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz is a pretty good road course racer, but he also doesn't have a lot of experience in the Craftsman Truck Series. So I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye on all those drivers and see how they end up doing in this race. So definitely something to watch out for. But I had to pick Zilich driving this number 71 for Spire. And then once again for the O'Reilly Series, I'm once again going to pick Zilich. I picked Zilich to win the O'Reilly Series race in the number 1 for Junior Motorsports. I expect to see an epic battle between him and SVG throughout the day, the 1 versus the 9 throughout the day. I think it's going to be very similar to what we maybe saw at Sonoma last season. So I expect some great battles between those two. And then for the Cup Series, I just don't think Zilich is used to the car quite yet. I don't think he's quite to that point. I do expect him to be competitive and get a top 10, maybe even a top 5. But I don't think Zilich is necessarily used to the car quite a bit yet. So with that being said, I have to take Shane. I think Shane Van Gisbergen is going to win the Cup Series race. So to go over my picks one more time, I have Zilich winning both the Truck Series and the O'Reilly Series race. The Truck Series race for Spire, the O'Reilly Series race for Junior Motorsports, and then winning the NASCAR Cup Series race, the Go Bowling at the Glen. I have Shane Van Gisbergen going back-to-back at Watkins Glen International. But let me know your thoughts. Who is your pick to win this weekend in the Truck Series, O'Reilly Series, and in the NASCAR Cup Series at Watkins Glen? But with all that being said, that will actually do it for this week's edition of Larry's Trackside Teaser. I would greatly appreciate it if you like, comment, follow, subscribe, share, do whatever you need to do. But for now, I'm Trackside Larry saying peace.